guys, it is Genesis again, and this is a super quick but separate video. I know I titled it Altars Are Important, and this was one that I wanted to kind of make in conjunction with these other things I have going on and just do a really quick commentary on why I think altars are important, because once upon a time, someone asked me if I think they're necessary or not, and at the time I said no, and now I would like to revise that. So first and foremost, this video is directed again the same way the rest of my videos are directed, which is mainly toward people of color, black and brown people, especially like black biracial people like myself, because that's been a huge part of my journey, especially where I am now. And of course, women, trauma survivors, non-binary people, like I kind of have a focus there because that's who I am, that's what I know. That said, any of my information is for everybody. So super quick, altars are very important. Your altar is where you are going to meet spirit. Your altar is where your benevolent blessed ancestors might be living, where your spirits might be living, where if you work with thought forms, servitors, familiars, you may have an intention altar or a space for them that has their little spirit houses on it. So altars are very important because that is your spirit home. And just like you have a house, you want your spirits to have a house too. So thing one. Thing two, don't want a crowded altar. You really don't. I have been a practicing witch for real since I was like 7 years old, but I had a very hodgepodge practice, and it was a very Eurocentric based practice. And I really didn't understand much about having an ancestor altar. And as I began to learn about having an ancestor altar, I realized that the altar I had up was like a combination of an intention altar, a spirit altar, and an altar for myself. I know I'm talking so fast, I'm sorry. But altars are super, super important. Like I said, because your spirit family and your work is gonna be there. So thing one, you want them to be separate. Your ancestor altar, your intention altar for whatever work you're doing, and like an altar for yourself or maybe your own energy or essence need to be separate. You don't want to share a room with your brother. You definitely don't want to share a room with 16 great aunts, some people you don't know from past lives, and some other stuff going on. Like, you want your shit separate. And those relatives really don't want to be jam-packed in with your, prosperity work, health work, emotional healing, and sex magic. Like, they don't all need to be together. So that was thing two. Yes, altars are important. Multiple altars or the type of altar is important. No, you don't have to have an altar up nonstop. I advise having a regular altar. I really don't feel well or complete without having an altar. I've had one for so many years in a variety of ways that it's very important to myself and my craft to have that space. I do very often have my ancestor altar moved around just because of the layout of my house and kind of the space we have in here. That said, from what I have learned, you really need to look into, to the best of your ability, your lineage, your ancestors, learn about what they've practiced if you can, so that you make sure you're following appropriately what they will be able to respond to. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, well. Here's what I know. I'm mixed, right? So I have, black ancestors and white ancestors, and I have ancestors of both of those that were here, Revolutionary War and Civil War times. And I have ancestors that are black and white from what I call their old countries, their mother countries. So you'll kind of want to look into what the religious and spiritual practices of your ancestors' mother countries are, and then look at their religious and spiritual practices here if you can. And I understand that can be difficult depending on which ancestors you're looking into. So there's that. Another thing is when I talk to them, I try to always differentiate or call out to them whatever names I know. I use their names. If I know family names, I'll use that. I really try to be you guys from this area, and I found that to be very helpful. So anyway, knowing traditions, knowing kind of what they'll feel comfortable coming to, if they'll feel comfortable being around you. As far as altar maintenance goes, fresh water, you want to have fresh water out. I try to change my water every day or every other day. Always wash the glasses. Candles are really nice. Of course, always practice fire safety. I have caused a fire before. So fire safety with your candles. Incense, frankincense is a usually very acceptable choice across the board. But again, talk to your people about that. Talk to your advisors, your blessed dead. And if you're like me and you kind of had no anything starting and you just put it together yourself, here are my ideas. One, I have a lot of Gaelic ancestry, Scottish or Celtic or whatever, like Scottish, Irish, English, and then I have Germanic ancestry. So a lot of nature use, a lot of involvement with nature, and like cairns were popular. It's cairns, cairn. But those were like popular things that you could build. I don't know if I'm phrasing that the right way, but just if you have like ancestors from that area, those would be built. You use stones to make them, and like kind of make a mound kind of out of it. You could make an outdoor altar. You could learn about the different types of trees that were holy to the Druids. So if you have white ancestors, look in that direction. Or if you have like ancestors like I do from this area that are white, like that were German, look up, I don't know, German powwow. Look up the Pennsylvania Dutch. So, and then if you have black ancestors, look up hoodoo. Look into, Baptist practices. Look in all the different southern states. Look at collective elders. I'm going to start reading Zora Neale Hurston's works, because I haven't yet, but I know that she has a lot of information there and just a voice to be heard. Really what I'm learning and understanding is that, like, as a black woman and looking into African traditional religions and looking into hoodoo and these spiritual practices, that it's embedded in the music, it's embedded in the stories, it's embedded in people, it's embedded in the ways that we move in a house, like things I learned but did not hear or experience growing up. Like, you can't sweep over somebody's feet and not leaving, a purse on the floor. Like, this is stuff that I've learned. So that's really embedded. And I think as a biracial person, and like it's our responsibility to be doing that work. Like, as a biracial person, it's my responsibility, A, to hold my white ancestors accountable. Y'all have work to do and you owe me and my family reparations. But B, to do the work of learning what my black ancestors knew, of finding that history so that I can preserve it, of standing up for it. So that's the other reason I say that altars are very important, especially for doing this work. And I think it's especially important to anybody that pays attention to what I do, that if you're black or biracial, brown, you really need to be working with your ancestors and really uplifting them in prayer, uplifting your lineage. Not, if you got people in your lineage that are not right, like, don't have them all around you. Don't have them in your close circle doing your work. But be looking out for your benevolent ancestors. Be listening to them. Realize that when they teach you something, when you know to do a certain thing or not do a certain thing, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. It's wisdom. It's ancestral wisdom in there. There's protection in there. Your ancestors will lead you to safety and protection, okay? I did not mean to make this video as much about ancestors. It was really just supposed to be a quick joint about altars. But that altar is so important, and that's really, I guess, why I did remake this video, is because now I really believe you need to have a regular altar. You need to have that ancestor altar up. You need to go there in the morning and say hello. You need to greet them. Good morning. Grand Rising. I hope you have a great day in the other world, in the afterworld. I hope this water is a blessing to you. Thank you for protecting me. Okay? Go to that altar. That's where your spiritual people live. That's where that connection is. I really like to have a mirror at my altar. I always have mirrors at my altars. I like fresh flowers at my altar. I like to have honey at my altar, Florida water. I love candles. Candle work is big for me. Oh, my best friend is here. That's it. That was our little thing about altars and ancestors. I love you. Bye.